There's a password pun or joke or something in here. I just can't find it yet. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. Hey, the Red Sox won a baseball game last night. That was kind of fun, right? Especially because they weren't really supposed to win that game with Kodai Senga on the mound. But what we're talking about in today's video actually has nothing to do with the big league club. Because before and after yesterday's game, there was some pretty big news regarding the Red Sox minor league system with a couple of promotions, as well as a small signing that we're going to go over in today's video. And I think where we're going to start is with those promotions. And I say promotions because this was kind of a domino effect promotion for the Red Sox. The first thing that happened, and sort of the biggest news of this video, was actually broken by our friend of this channel, To The Show podcast, hosted by Andrew Parker. Andrew Parker on Twitter said that the Red Sox are calling up Yost Stinson, the password Garcia, to AAA baseball. Now, this is great news on a couple of different levels. One, because last year, while Yost Stinson absolutely tore up high A baseball, that was sort of the part of his season last year that started to put him on a lot of people's radars in Red Sox Nation as, hey, this is a guy we should be paying attention to, but he struggled a bit when he got that promotion to AA towards the end of the year last year. He played 30 games to finish out the 2024 season and ended up slashing .263 with a .320 on base percentage and a .386 slug. Obviously, I think there are two major standouts in this slash line. One, you did see his on base percentage drop quite a bit as it was compared to his low A, high A statistics. But the other thing, too, is that we saw a real decrease in Yost Stinson's power in AA, right? Below 400 slug usually means you aren't hitting the ball super hard at that level. He ended up with a 100 even WRC plus or a 706 OPS. So he really wasn't terrible in AA. He really wasn't a bad player. He was just sort of a dead average one. But that was still a pretty big decrease from what we saw from Yost Stinson in the lower levels of the minor leagues before this promotion. However, this year was a little bit of a different story. The slash line still looks pretty similar. It's a .256 average in AA so far, with a .355 on base percentage and a .393 slug, good for a 116 WRC plus. So he's now about 16% better than your average AA player, at least when it comes to OPSs at the plate. What I will say is, despite the similar slash line, there's one thing that really stands out, and that is the fact that his on-base percentage really took a jump between this year and last year, and a big reason for that is because his walk rate kind of came back to life a little bit. In the lower levels of the minor leagues, one thing Yost Stinson was known for was, hey, this is a guy who's going to swing and miss, right? That's just sort of part of his game. He's going to take strikeouts. He's always constantly been in that 20% strikeout-ish range, but he was always really solid at commanding the strike zone. He always had a strikeout rate around 14-ish%. When he got to high A and eventually AA last year, we saw that drop quite a bit. In both of those leagues last season, he ended up with about a 5% walk rate. That's not exactly what you want to see, especially if you're going to continue to have that sort of swing and miss. This year, however, we saw that walk rate jump back up to about 13%. That is a really good sign that he got comfortable at the AA level. Now, again, you're still missing that power potential that's there with Yost Stinson. He was a really, really big power guy in high A baseball, sort of lost it a bit in AA. I think that's a little bit of a common theme amongst prospects. We talk about this all the time, that AA is a really difficult level, right? It's basically the biggest jump you're going to make in the minor leagues before you actually get to Major League Baseball. So we do see a lot of guys kind of struggle a bit in their first go-arounds here in AA, and we also see a lot of guys lose that power a little bit because of the pitching is so much more advanced compared to high A and low A baseball. So there is some explanation for it, but that power potential is absolutely still there with Yost Stinson, and obviously the Red Sox believe he's ready for the next level because they ended up promoting him to AAA. Things get kind of really interesting with Jhostynxon Garcia's timeline now that he's in AAA baseball, right? He is an outfielder. He is on the 40-man roster, so it does become a little bit easier to potentially make a move to Major League Baseball at some point this season, but he sort of falls into this camp of what the hell are the Red Sox going to do with this outfield, right? It was already a really complicated situation for this team because you've got three pretty competent outfielders at the Major League level right now. You've got Roman Anthony, who is just, pounding on the door of Major League Baseball, if not trying to full-on break it down right now with one of those police battering rams at this point. And now you add in Yost Stinson, right? And this is a guy who the Red Sox were clearly excited about. This offseason, they added him to their 40-man roster to avoid having him taken in the Rule 5 draft. This is somebody they legitimately believe in, and this is someone who has some right-handed power, which right now in the Red Sox farm system, specifically in the higher levels of the Red Sox farm system, is a little bit rare. This is an interesting prospect for the Red Sox. I have absolutely no idea how long the Red Sox are going to hold him in AAA. My guess is that he's going to be there for a pretty long period of time. Again, I don't think it has anything to do with Yost Stinson's ability here. I think it has everything to do with the current situation of the Red Sox. My guess is there's sort of a line, right? Roman Anthony says, hey, congratulations, buddy. Get to the back of the line here. I'm trying to get up to Major League Baseball. I guess it sort of depends on what goes on at the Major League level. An injury or anything like that happens. I could see the Red Sox going with Yost Stinson for a short stint, mostly because he is on that 40-man roster, but I don't think he's too far off of Major League Baseball. They're getting him up to AAA. I could see him at some point possibly making his debut at some point this year. But again, it's just sort of a line, right? It's like a deli counter for the Red Sox outfield right now. Either way, very exciting that Yost Stinson is on the AAA club. He is just one step away from Major League Baseball at this point. But because he was promoted to AAA, someone else needed to get promoted to AA. And I'm actually pretty intrigued by the guy that the Red Sox chose. Before we get into the second part of this video, I just wanted to let you guys know that we have all new Red Seat merch on this channel. If you guys are checking out the hat saying, hey, that might be a new hat, Corbin, it is. It's an embroidered Red Seat radio hat. These are absolutely fantastic. It's like legitimate merchandise. I'm very excited about it. But on top of that, we also got t-shirts, hoodies, 3 different designs, a ton of great stuff for you guys to check out. This is by far and away the most proud in terms of outside things opposed to videos that we put out on this channel. So I'm very excited for you guys to take a look at it. If you want to check out the new Red Seat merch, get yourself a hat, a shirt, a hoodie, whatever it is, make sure you click the link in the description of this video or head over to my page, click on the store tab, and all the stuff is right there. All you got to do is click on one of the pictures. Thank you all very much for taking a second and checking these out. Let's get back to the video. Again, our friend here, Andrew Parker, host of To The Show podcast, reported that because Yost Stinson was promoted to AAA baseball, the Red Sox filled that hole in AA with a prospect by the name of Zach Ehrhard. Now, he is an outfield prospect who is kind of an underrated name in the Red Sox system right now. He was drafted in the 4th round of last year's draft, and so far, he is making a whole lot of noise in the Red Sox system this year because his high A slash line is unbelievably impressive. It's a 342 average, a ridiculous 471 on base percentage, and a 459 slug. He was walking almost as much as he was striking out in high A with 26 walks to 27 strikeouts. He had 10 doubles in 31 games, and he had 22 RBIs. All of that led to a 169 WRC plus. So in high A this season, he's been about 70% better than your average high A player. This is just another one of those guys you sit there and it's like, how do the Red Sox find these power potential outfielders with a crazy eye? This is like what, the 3rd or 4th guy, even outside of Roman Anthony, that does this for the Boston Red Sox. Whatever it is, it's incredibly impressive. And again, this is one of those names where you sit there and currently he's not in the Red Sox top 25. He's sitting somewhere in the Red Sox top 50 for prospects, but by the end of the season, if he continues to hit like this and continues to have the eye that he has at the high A level, now at the AA level, this is a name I think a lot of people are going to start to recognize as one of the more underrated names in the Red Sox system. Kind of a really interesting guy to pay attention to, but he's now getting his chance at the AA level. Again, the highest jump a player makes in minor league baseball before their promotion to Major League Baseball. So this will be a really interesting name to sort of keep in the back of your head, maybe in your back pocket if someone goes, hey, what's an underrated Red Sox prospect? I don't know if maybe your full focus should be on what Zach Ehrhard is doing in AA, but if you start to see, highlights or something, pay attention a little bit because this is a guy who has a ton of tools that could end up being a really, really productive sort of under the radar player for the Red Sox over these next couple of years. But either way, he ended up getting the promotion to AA. The other thing I wanted to touch on in this video was just a small signing. I always get like, oh, this is a dumpster dive trash can signing by the Red Sox. Guys, it's a small minor league signing the Red Sox made. I just like keeping you guys up to date with everything going on in the Red Sox system. And last night, independent team, the New York Boulders, actually announced themselves that one of their pitchers by the name of PJ Labriola, I think that's how you pronounce it. I may have butchered that name. You guys know I'm not exactly fantastic with names. Had signed with the Boston Red Sox on a minor league deal. Now, PJ was a reliever for both Clemson and North Carolina Tar Heels in college until he graduated in 2024 and headed over to indie ball. I'm not incredibly sure what the Red Sox actually see in PJ. To me, nothing really jumps out of the page. He didn't really get a ton of playing time in college throughout the entirety of his college career, and when he was playing, it wasn't necessarily too fantastic numbers. It was an 8.63 ERA with a kind of absurd here, 1.958 whip in 48 innings overall. Not a crazy amount of strikeouts, just about 9.8 per 9 innings, so almost 10 Ks per 9. So maybe there's something there with the swing and miss ability, but he had a ton of hits and a ton of walks allowed, which makes sense given the fact that his whip is an almost incredible 2 batters per inning, right? That's basically like saying there is going to be a runner at least on second base every time PJ gets on the mound in a clean inning. That's a lot of walks. It's a lot of traffic for the Red Sox. To me, this is the Red Sox simply taking a shot here, right? It's a minor league deal. Maybe there's something in his game that we aren't seeing that shows up on the back of a baseball card. I couldn't really find a ton of like scouting reports on PJ, which kind of makes sense given his minimal time in college and his very minimal time in indie ball. He is a left-handed reliever, so maybe it's the fact that he's kind of unique in that way a little bit, right? You could always use some left-handed relievers in your system. My guess is that he ends up starting in the very low minors and trying to work his way up from there. Shot in the dark by the Boston Red Sox. They had nothing to lose here, right? They had no real problems signing this guy. It's not like he's going to end up taking a 40-man spot. It's not like he's going to end up taking a 26-man spot this season. He's just sort of a, hey, you know, this, maybe it's a fastball, maybe it's a slider, maybe it's a curveball or changeup or whatever. Maybe it's a velocity thing the Red Sox spotted and said, yeah, there might be something here we can work with. To me, this signing goes one of two ways. Either one, this is a guy that ends up being a really cool story that could end up being a legitimately impactful arm on the Red Sox at some point. We've seen it before over the last couple of years with guys like Zach Ehrhard coming out of indie ball, with guys like Shane Drohan coming out of indie ball, right? These are two players that the Red Sox at some point did legitimately use. Zach Ehrhard was with the Major League Club last year. These guys were indie ball players who no one had ever heard of, came over, and one of them ended up actually making an impact on the big league team. Maybe this is something we see with PJ here. The other way this goes is that we talk about him in this video and then we never hear about him again, right? He sort of flusters a bit in low A, maybe he gets to high A or something. It just ends up not working out. But either way, again, this isn't really a big issue for the Red Sox. If it doesn't end up working out, okay, right? You picked up a contract from an indie league team. He's stuck in the minor leagues. He has no real impact on this big league club. So not exactly a dumpster dive signing, not exactly a trash can signing, not exactly the Red Sox being cheap, just simply something all major league teams do, just simply something that continues to get fresh arms and fresh looks into this system to see if maybe you can hit some sort of diamond in the rough here. I don't hate it, right? I don't hate it. There's no real opinion to have on this type of signing. It's a random signing that we're either going to be real grateful for by the end of next year or we're never going to hear of again. But overall, taking a look at all these moves together, I think obviously the standout is the promotions, right? To me, that's what gets me most excited. Yost Stinson is a top 15 prospect. He's a name that has been sort of really big in Red Sox circles over the past year. To see him succeed in AA enough where he gets the promotion to AAA is always a good thing. I also think putting a name on your radar like Zach Ehrhard is always a good thing. Having a sort of underrated name in your system that you could sort of say, hey, if things go well, this could be sort of a surprise top-ish prospect by the end of the year. Maybe he cracks top 25 or something like that by the end of the season. also making a way up towards Major League Baseball. You're starting to get to this point now where in AAA, you've got a lot of bigger names banging on the door, and eventually you got to do something about it, Red Sox, right? We'll see sort of where the Red Sox go from here, but ultimately very exciting stuff. And hey, the Red Sox now have a PJ in their farm system. So let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about the promotions? Do you have any opinion on the signing? I personally don't think you should, but do you? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.